Hey YouTube, and welcome back to Love for Crypto. I've got an absolutely fascinating video to show you today. Whether it's new news to some or old news to others, I personally don't think this has been covered to the extent of what we will cover it today. I think it's 1,000,000% worth addressing. It's very factual, based off documentation, presumptions or theories being made here. This is solid facts. And as we said, in regards to the US regulatory stance, it's a little bit uncertain at the moment. They appear to be asleep behind the wheel, is one way of calling it. But that's not necessarily the case, and I'm going to jump into this for you right now, and I'm going to cover it. So first of all, we need to understand what the SAIV coalition really is. Now it says here, this is what it stands for: Securing America's Internet of Value. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read this document. You know, I'm not a big fan of it, but if you can just bear with me, there is some really good information that needs to be shared from within this. Washington, D.C. 5 leading startups shaping the most innovative enterprise and consumer applications for digital assets joined forces to launch a coalition today to stimulate and protect the next generational global financial system. Now, I mean, that is a very empowering first paragraph to begin with, especially where it says to stimulate and protect the next generational global financial system. You know, I don't need to keep repeating it. We're currently using a 1970s model, and it is all about shaping the future. The Securing America's Internet of Value SAIV coalition puts founding members Coil, Hijacker, Polysign, Ripple Works, and Ripple at the forefront of the industry's efforts to educate policymakers and work side by side with them to encourage innovation, promote transparency and competition, and protect consumers, investors in the digital asset marketplace, and American jobs. Today, information, news, and multimedia assets can move around the world in a split second, yet international financial transactions can take days and often carry significant error rates and costs that could reach more than 1.7 trillion a year on cross-border transactions of 180 trillion. The Internet of Value is making it possible to process those transactions instantly. Now, obviously, if you've been watching our channel, you know this is what we do. We're promoting and educating people on the new monetary system, the new structural layout of how it will evolve moving forward into the future. The Internet of Value, we've done a very long video on that. The SAIV coalition's launch comes as policymakers in Congress and government agencies examine this new technology and wrestle with a regulatory regime that must be updated to meet the needs of this global financial transition. There is also keen interest among members of Congress. Congressional leaders have already established a blockchain caucus, held a dozen hearings in House and Senate, and published 111 statements related to cryptocurrency and blockchain over the past 6 years, according to the Klein Johnson Group's analysts of congressional websites. So there's little, I do apologise again with the reading, but you know, it's something that definitely needs issuing to people. The Internet of Value will have the same dramatic economic and social benefits as IP did for data and the shipping container did for goods. America has the opportunity to lead this global transformation, and it starts with our policy markers, said Chris Larson, executive chairman and co-founder at Ripple. As these new technologies grow, blockchain and digital asset protocols consist with America's long-term interests should be treated equally to those dominated by foreign jurisdictions. Then we've got a further one from Polysign CEO. Digital assets will only reach their full potential and adoption when we achieve widespread education and understanding, as well as an institutional grade infrastructure in the industry. SAIV will focus our efforts on working with those US policymakers and government agencies who can help us realise these initiatives. Now we've got one from Stephen Thomas, founder of Coil, noted, there's a little doubt that payments will get increasingly automated and friction will decrease. However, this creates new challenges and opportunities for our financial regulation. As a company that heavily relies on modern payment technologies, we're excited to participate in the SAIV for a user's perspective to help lawmakers and regulators navigate this space. Greg Kidd, co-founder of Hijacker, said, Hijacker welcomes an opportunity to foster a dialogue with US policymakers to ensure US-led digital payment efforts will flourish at home and abroad. Among SAIV top priorities, founding members have coalesced around protecting competition and consumers of digital asset technologies. SAIV will work with lawmakers to explore the potential impact on this new and rapidly growing technology on matters such as promoting a vision of a fair and equitable Internet of Value, standard and consistent rules for all major protocols, qualified custodian rules clarification, fair and equitable IRS regulations for capital gains, assets, and charitable contributions. Izzy Klein, Matt Johnson of the Klein Johnson Group will manage the coalition and will also serve as senior advisors to member companies. A portion of Klein Johnson's group compensation will be in the form of XRP. A first for Washington DC consulting firm, according to public records. Now, as we were saying, we did hear about the lobbying of congressional men, and I think this is exactly what it is, because, you know, a portion of Klein & Johnson's group's compensation will be in the form of XRP. That's this group receiving XRP to do what they are doing. Now, there is another letter here. It's very similar. It's just a breakdown, but I think this paragraph's definitely worth reading. America has the exciting opportunity and obligation to take the lead as the world begins to think about how to harness the myriad benefits of new global financial technologies. These technology platforms and tools will provide tremendous benefits, including increased access to financial services and a faster, better system of cross-border payments. We should not sit on the sidelines as dozens of other countries embrace innovation. The SAIV Coalition looks forward to working with Congress and US regulators to help shape effective policies that keep our nation leading on fintech innovation and cryptocurrency. Now, like I say, I mean, if this has slipped underneath my radar, I don't know how. As you can see, these documents was released in October. Now, I know there was a lot of stuff at the time going around about Ripple lobbying congressmen, but there was really nothing out there to suggest exactly in what regards that was, and I think this is the information we've been looking for. Just a quick one, the Klein Johnson Group. I am not from the United States, so I don't actually know too much about this group. Just a little overview of exactly what it says on their page. The Klein Johnson Group is a new bipartisan lobbying and public policy firm located in Washington, D.C. Co-founders Matt Johnson and Israel Izzy Klein are top strategists and respected advocates on behalf of a wide range of clients on Capitol Hill. In the executive branch across official Washington and beyond, they are a high-impact, versatile, trusted advisors who construct bipartisan game plans for any public policy challenge and achieve results. So it looks like Ripple have approached this group, Klein Johnson Group. But as you can see, with the 5 members of the group that are contributing to it, we've got Coil, Hijacker. We'll have to do some more research, and this is a new one for me. But Polysign, we know Polysign again. Co-founders David Schwartz and Arthur Britto. You know, David Schwartz is obviously one of probably the finest cryptographers on the planet, and helped architect XRPL to become what it is today. Again, Arthur Britto, people who have watched this channel for a while will know our thoughts on Arthur Britto. There's not a lot of information out there. He's a ghost to a degree, the same as Satoshi Nakamoto. But nonetheless, without none of the conspiracy side of aspects, you know, we've got Coil, Hijacker, Polysign, RippleWorks, and Ripple at the forefront of the industry's efforts to educate policymakers. So I genuinely think this is quite massive, you know, especially when it comes down here towards the end, and it actually just say, you know, a portion of Klein Johnson's group compensation will be in the form of XRP. I think it's massive. I think it shows that Ripple are 100% at the forefront of America in regards to adoption, integrations. As you know, with the Federal Reserve's Faster Payment Task Force, we've got Ripple who's sat there, Ripple sat on the IMF, Ripple sat on the Better Than Cash Alliance. They are actually sat everywhere, and you know, when you look at Bitcoin and you realise to a degree it is now become a centralised cryptocurrency with, you know, all the hash power emigrating to China for cheaper electricity, I don't think America will want to push Bitcoin as such. We've had obviously all the ETFs being pushed back, which has shown some form of uncertainty from the regulatory side in regards of, will funds be safe in manipulation in the market. We never really hear nothing about XRP, and I do believe with its consensus, with it being truly decentralized, it's something that America are going to push first before Bitcoin, before Ethereum. It's a network that works. It's a real operating company, Ripple, with clients over 200 on the books in live productions. They've got a native digital asset. They're building this ecosystem, this network, this internet of value, and they're doing it with the governments, with regulators, and so forth. And I do think it's massive. I really, really do think this is massive. Now, just moving on from top of that, we've got a couple of little things. I'll fire through these very quickly. I was going to make the video on these, but I did receive this information earlier on this morning from Damore. He's part of the Love for Crypto team. This is his Twitter handles there as follows. Give him a follow. He does issue some quite decent information at times. So obviously this is another one. Switzerland sets legal foundation for blockchain industry. The Swiss government has announced a wide range of blockchain strategy that aims to create a legal foundation for the new technology. The report suggests amending existing laws rather than creating new legislation in a bid to enhance Switzerland's status as a blockchain friendly country. And you can see this is a reoccurring, reiterating sort of announcement from other nations around the world. You know, I don't even want to go into them. There's that many now that are crypto friendly, but the likes of the Philippines, you've got Mexico, you've got Thailand, you've got Japan, you've got Switzerland that are coming out saying the same thing. You've also had the European Union coming out saying the same thing. We've got the Federal Reserve Fastest Payments Task Force moving in the same direction in regards to this, and it is an overall overhaul of regulations across the world in order for this new payment network to be fully adopted and to be able to mature and have widespread adoption across the world and a common standard in regards of regulatory aspects maybe. And then we do need the regulations, and it is a massive part, and as you can see from what we've just talked about with the SAIV, that's all regulatory based, pushing for Congress, for lawmakers and such. And it'll be nice when we do get Jesse on the live stream Q&A, just to maybe even touch up on a little bit about that, as he is a lawyer in the United States, and we've got a good video of him coming up in regards to regulatory clarity in the United States. So again, we can see the Swiss government exactly going down the same road. Again, this was in December 2018. It's not exactly new news. It's just something I wanted to throw out after the piece that I did with American regulations. We've got this, the XRP Daily. I think as far as I believe, this is Alex Cobb's sort of new blog article website, and you know, in all fairness, every single article that I've seen has been fascinating, so fair play to Alex Cobb for putting this together. Huobi Exchange confirms XRP futures are coming soon. Now again, this was January 25th, this was only a couple of days ago, but again, this is massive. You know, a lot of people will argue the point that futures markets are sometimes bad for assets. I mean, if you look at Bitcoin, when it had its first CBOE futures introduced on the 15th of December, I believe it was, 2017, then Bitcoin's price just went down and down and down and down. In fact, it was probably an institutional way to short the market. Obviously with the immense retail bull run that followed in 2017, and they've come out and shorted it. I don't think it will be the same case for XRP, but again, it's another promising sign. So we've had another piece again from Alex Cobb's XRP Daily, fair play. HSBC subsidiary confirmed to be using Ripple. Again, I'm just going to skim over these. SAIV is one of 3 banks approved by the central banks to test connections with Ripple for instant settlement of cross-border transactions using blockchain technology. We've just gone live in the 2018 Shenfuses. Now, of course, again, it's massive. Is it using XRP? Probably not, but again, it's all about banks moving from the traditional rails onto a distributed ledger technology. You know, that's 75% of the work done. You know, once we've got regulations set in place and they are able to hold and use digital assets, then we will see that broad range of adoption that a lot of people are hoping for. Here's another one. Ripple XRP news. After joining R3, associate company out of HSBC Group's SAIV is using Ripple again in comparison to this article. But a big deal for Ripple as SBI joins Russian banks to invest in SBS Bank. Ripple partner, Japanese corporation SBI Holdings. You know, we cover them a lot. We think that's going to be the initial insurgent of next new capital. Maybe possibly coming from that region, as you've got the full consortium of banks. 80% of banks in Japan are using Ripple technology now, RippleNet. And again, it's just waiting for the FCA approval, FSA, sorry, I think Japan is, and putting that regulatory stamp in order for digital assets to be used. But this is an agreement with 2 other Russian and Japanese banks. Now, we've been hearing a lot about Russia dropping the United States dollar moving forwards. They've been dropping the bonds. And it's nice to see that we've got a really entrenched Ripple partner working with the Russians. It's going to sound awful, this, but it's just another payment channel that is going to be open. You know, if Russia are not happy with the United States dollar, how they've got control of the system, they're talking about averting the United States dollar SWIFT system, then it's great news for Ripple if they can cooperate with the SBI Holdings Group, and they can set up an existing rail that Russia can tap into. It opens up Ripple, and again, it's the network effects of growing the network, so to speak. So that's massive. You know, a lot of Americans might be a little bit like, what the fuck, but you know, listen, we're talking about making the network bigger and growing, and this is great. The agreement was further widened. Ripple's coverage in Asia was signed during a meeting between the President Vladimir Putin and Chinese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. I think that's how it said. So again, you know, Vladimir Putin involved in this one. It's massive. It's just a Russian bank potentially having access to that Ripple network. We don't really see much coming from Russia. We know they're doing their own things with cryptocurrency. But what a deal that would be, you know, if Russians are not happy with the United States with the United States dollar system that they've got, and they want to revert using it, they want to send money across borders, you know, RippleNet is open to them, and to me, I think that's quite a telling tale, in all fairness. This is just a quick one on Mercury FX. You probably heard recently it did its highest payment the other day. It sent $4,500. Executed in a matter of seconds in comparison to 31 hours. And there's a nice little speech here that he says, rather than see cryptos and blockchain technology as a threat, we have for some time been looking at the optimal ways to embrace and integrate said technologies. We believe that the more established blockchains will eventually replace SWIFT network alongside other, frankly, clunky payment networks. Crypto will be used as a conduit to replace fiat eventually. Now, obviously, we talk about XRP complements fiat. It's not out there to replace it. But again, a big, massive telltale sign here. Again, it will eventually replace the SWIFT network. It's going to do that. It really is. You know, SWIFT is a 1970s analog design in comparison to the digital technologies that we have on offer today. I think it says somewhere around here. Yeah, so here it is. As with all things, we will start with modest sums and add zeros as we progress. Come the end of the test pilot, there is no reason why we shouldn't be making payments of $1 million or more now. This is very good to see, because, you know, on the XRP ledger, we're not seeing that high value transfer happening because it's not liquid enough to do so. The spread on the order books, if you used to try and execute something at such a value, it would be cheaper in fact to use SWIFT. So it's all about building that liquidity into the system in order to enable these transactions. But you can see it there. You know, it is something that is in the pipeline, and we will eventually get there. You know, how long it takes, nobody knows. We've got Bank XRP. Standard Chartered is the latest financial institute to have completed a trade finance transaction via blockchain. And as you can see down here, Standard Chartered Bank cross-border payment pilot test with MUFG Bank Limited via RippleNet. So again, that's another Ripple partner now. It looks like we're seeing stuff go live. This isn't to say that they're using XRP or XRapid. We know they've got 200 commercial production contracts out there now, 200 plus. And we've obviously heard about a lot of initiatives going live in Q1 2019, Q2 2019 in regards to actually using the digital asset itself. So, you know, we are coming up to a really exciting part here. I don't really want to push it to say it, but, you know, like I said, I think once SBI is live, once it's got open access to all its customers, you know, we're talking 7 million plus customers. We've got regulatory clarity, we've got custodian clarity in that regard as well. Then, you know, it's going to be open market for institutional broad investors. They're not going to play markets at the moment that are currently manipulated, which they are. You know, you've got wash trading and all sorts of stuff going on, but I do think we're at a tipping point in regards to that. And finally, as I forecast from the day the Fed first announced its plan to shrink its balance sheets, it now admits it will abort the process long before it's finished. I also forecast that this policy reversal would be a precursor to the return to QE. That forecast will soon come true. Just a little touch up in regards to that. Obviously, you know, we were speaking about this the other day, and you know, Peter Schiff is a very respectable person. And, you know, he predicted the 2008 financial crisis in 2006. Everyone laughed at him, and there's a lot of people that'll probably laugh at him for this forecast, but it is something that I actually do believe as well. I have an instilled belief from watching the various economists that I do watch. and their input in regards of obviously the monetary policies moving forwards. And I do think this is something, I mean, obviously to a degree, I mean, look, we've seen it here, you know, we're supposed to be tightening, and we've had the QE sort of, if you want, I mean, people may argue that it's not QE, but, you know, central banks adding to balance sheets when they should be unwinding, so I'll let you make that up, you know what I mean. So I'm going to leave it at that one then. If you like the video, you know, please give it a share, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.